walking into WrestleMania as tag champion and as queen, like first ever, like that was...
Do you have any favorite group chats that you have with other wrestlers?
You were asking very different questions. You know how usually for these kind of things you kind of like prep yourself? I'm like, oh, okay, can I jump off the Tron? And they're just like, no.
Do you ever talk to Carmella anymore?
Not much. It's so weird to even say this out loud, but my husband now.
Who's the jokester? Who's trying to send memes? Who's trying to send funny videos?
Bailey. Bailey for sure.
You hit the code red, you get the 3 count. What's the feeling like when they say your name that you won the championship?
Oh, I feel like all day. So first of all, I didn't even know until like a good hour before the show. And so it's one of those things where you don't really believe it until you hear that. And when I heard my name, this is like the moment you notice I started to get emotional, like on the ramp. That's when I started to get emotional about it. So it was like still when I pinned her, I was still in the moment and not really thinking, like I was in work mode. And then all of a sudden I became Thea on the ramp. So that was the moment. And it was insane. It was just something that you don't really plan to feel. And then all of a sudden you're just like, I'm 8 years old again. Okay.
Because wrestling's so crazy because the biggest moment can happen like an hour before. Mm-hmm. And you have no idea.
No clue. But it was also like I kind of just went about my day regular. And then all of a sudden I was just like, okay, but at the same time, what was comforting, and this was a first time thing, is obviously my husband was coming back that same day. So I was so focused on him and like what was going on with him that it was kind of like I didn't have time to stress out about me. So it actually helped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looking at the belt now, all the blood, sweat, and tears, what comes to your mind from the entire journey that you actually accomplished it?
Oh, I mean, I think just focusing on the tears part. Like there was a lot of moments where, you know, you question things. You're like, is this even going to happen for me? Like how much am I really going to have to sacrifice to do this? I mean, I've been with WWE for 7 years. So it was like 7 years I didn't get a single title. Mind you, I still had, you know, amazing moments. Like I had my history making moment with the Queen of the Ring and, you know, the tag titles that I had with Carmella and WrestleMania. Like there's a bunch of like really amazing things that happen, but everybody wants a singles title. And if they say that they don't, they're lying. So it's
that was always on your bucket list?
Yeah. So not the United States Championship because we just never had it.
But
so,
a singles title was, because you were part of the factions, managers, singles now.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to be a wrestler like from Jump Street. Like it was never like a manager was never on my you know list of ideas that I wanted, but it kind of just happened and I fell into it. And then I don't know, something when me and Andrade just got together, it was like lightning struck, and then just we became this like force, you know.
How'd that originally get put together?
So funny enough, it was one of those things that, so I had tried out for WWE like years and years and got no's every single time I did. So it was like a good 8 years of like no. And then it just, we did Fighting With My Family. And I also felt like I wasn't going to get hired because I was the fastest or the strongest or anything like that. It was, they needed to see me in my element as a character and cutting a promo. Like that's usually where people see me shine. So,
and you knew that back then?
Yeah. And it's also because I got hired for TNA that way. So it was literally like we did a backstage promo. They just kind of threw me out to the wolves and were like, okay, we're going to do this backstage, you know, see what happens. And they had Angelina Love break the interview and just wanted to see how I was going to react to it. And I just played off of it and whatever. And they're like, yeah, I don't even know if we need to see the match. That was great. So.
And you had no idea she was going to break it?
No. Mm-mm. But in my mind, I was like, okay, I could either stop and just say, is this for real? Or we just see what happens and just keep talking. So that's what I did. And I remember D'Lo Brown saying, yeah, I think we're good. So, you know, we'll still have the match, but you already won us over. So I was like, okay, cool. And then when it came to Fighting With My Family, they had me cutting AJ's promo at the Staples Center right after Raw. And I think that's when they were like, oh, okay, she can cut a promo. Okay, she can do this. Like, she can, like, control the crowd and stuff like that. So I got a call from William Regal afterwards, and he was like, hey, mind you, this was actually before we filmed Fighting With My Family. He called me the same night that Dwayne called me about the movie. So I thought that they were connected, but they weren't. And he was like, hey, and it was during Andrade's match for TakeOver. And he's like, hey, can you speak Spanish? And before I could even answer, he goes, actually, it doesn't matter. I'll call you back. And he hung up. And I'm like,
that was William Regal.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Didn't even get to respond, but it's fine. And then Dwayne called me literally like 3 hours afterwards, and he's like, hey, I got this idea. And then I was like, okay. But again, it was, I don't even know, like.
That was when he pitched you for AJ.
Yeah. And he just said, like, you don't even have to audition for it. I already know you can do it. I'm like,
did you know this movie was happening?
No. No, but probably like 3 days before that happened, I had gotten an audition that just didn't go the way I wanted. I got another no from WWE, so I had texted him, and I was like, okay, I think I'm just done. Like, there's just so many times I maybe told no. It was like my 8th no at that time, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, clearly they just don't want me. They don't want anything I have to offer. Like, I'm just not gonna be able to be with WWE. And he's just like, don't say no yet. Just give me a couple of days. I've been working on something. And that's when he called me about the movie, and I was like, okay. And again, it was just so mind blowing. I think I just didn't say anything for a second, and I was still kind of processing it. And he's like, this is usually where people say, I'm so happy, thank you so much. Like, I was just like, I'm so sorry. And then I just started like crying because I just had no idea. It was just all this emotion kind of built up. And then he was like, but I trust you completely. Like, I know that you can do this, and like, you're my Divas champion, and that's it. So I was like, okay. Yeah.
Hearing you tell this story while you're holding the belt is so incredible.
It's insane. Well, because too, like, I also thought that at that time, I was like, if holding the Divas title, being AJ is the closest that I'll get to being a champion in WWE, like, I just have to accept that. And like, there was a moment after we were done filming that I just stayed in the middle of the ring holding the Divas title and just was feeling everything, because he was always like the one to stress, like, be in the moment, feel it. Like, we're so used to things going so fast, like, just press pause for a second and just feel it, and then you can do what you want to do. But that's when I thought, I was like, okay, this is the closest that I'll get. And then now talking about it, it's like, well, actually, this is the closest that I'm getting now, and we'll see where things go in the future. But yeah, it's insane.
After you cut that promo, how'd you feel that you did? Did you feel like you could do this?
Yeah, so I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just because I'm a New Yorker and we just used to talking shit. But like,
it's
it
in
just,
your blood.
Yeah, it just kind of comes natural. Like, I don't stress about promos ever. Like, I can seriously just go there and just talk forever. It's not really like something that I will be kind of stressing about. And I think that's also why Andrade and I worked, is because I was the promo and I can talk for him. I knew when he was starting to struggle, and I can just cut in. We knew each other so well that I could just cut in and cut out when I needed to. And he was the wrestler, and he was the one showing me on the side, like, hey, let's work on this together. Let's do this move and whatever. So we were kind of just helping each other in that way. But yeah, no, as soon as and here's the other thing with AJ, I wanted to bring, because I knew I couldn't do the exact outfit of hers, which I already knew the fans were going to be like, oh my God, why didn't she wear the outfit? It's like so easy.
Great
well,
impression.
It's not my movie. I'm like, it's not mine. I had no control over that.
Was that just like an IP thing?
No, they wanted to just like do a movie that wasn't just for wrestling fans. They wanted it to be like a global thing. They wanted people to understand, this is the bad guy, this is the good guy. They look very different, but the story's still real, but just to make it easier for
people to understand. Yeah,
because aesthetically, Paige and AJ look kind of similar. So it wasn't that big of a difference. So they didn't want people to be like, wait, so why is she in black? And just, I think color-wise, they just think, oh, lighter colors, it's just different. Or red's usually like bad guy, So that's what they wanted to do with that. And they just said, you have control over the voice, you have control over her mannerisms, be AJ as a person, but just have a different outfit.
So was there a script really, or you just freeballed it?
So there was the actual promo that she said, and I studied that promo like my life depended on it. Like, he was, Dwayne was really the one that said, get into her mind, like, how would she be here? How would she think about this? How would she move? How does she, if you're going to breathe in her skin, how would she be? And so he would kind of walk me through how to bring her forward into the performance. But it was a lot of looking at that promo, studying her vocal patterns, and just making sure, because that was the one thing I was like, I want to sound like her. So it was very like trying to change my pitch and making sure I can match hers. They thought I did a voiceover. I didn't. It was just me. So we cut the whole promo, and then they chopped it up however they needed to.
Was the Rockin' Gorilla watching?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. Well, partially he was in Gorilla, and then for another part of it, which I really tried not to look at him, he was like right at the bottom of the ring, like the commentators. And I was like, I can't look at him because I'm going to start freaking out. Like, even just like thinking about it now, I'm just like, I remember that anxiety of like, okay, like the people didn't bother me too much. It was more like, he's still The Rock, bro. Like, that's crazy, you know? So yeah, I try to like, whoever is putting their name on me and like trusting me, I always feel like an extra bit of pressure to prove them right and like represent them right, you know? So
Can we go back to you being a manager? At that time, did you feel, not that you were being held back, but did you feel like there was more that you could do because you were a wrestler?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
was that hard for you?
yes, it was, because I wanted to be a part of things that were happening so bad, you know, like I didn't feel completely a part of the locker room, like the female locker room, because we didn't have that kind of, you know, you feel differently after you wrestle somebody. There's a different kind of relationship that you eventually develop with that person. And I just didn't really have that, you know? So especially in NXT, I felt very much like an outsider, because it was like I was in the female locker room, but I just didn't have that relationship with everybody. Like Liv, for instance, like she was like loved across the board, you know, like everyone like loved working with her. She was bubbly, she was fun, and she still is, you know, but it's just, you see how she just had a different relationship with everyone. And you get that when you get to work with people physically. And I didn't really feel like I had that. And then when, I guess they also didn't really know what my level of wrestling was. So I remember Shawn Michaels came to me. He's like, he's like, Hunter told me that you can do like hurricanranas and stuff. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. He's like, I don't know. He said that you train in lucha and stuff. And I'm like, and stuff. Yes. Yeah. Uh-huh. And he's like, okay, do you think it'd be possible if like you gave a hurricanrana on the outside to Drew? You don't have to, like, it doesn't. I'm like, no, it's totally fine. Like, I promise you it'll be fine. And he's like, okay, like, can we just see it just to make sure? Like, he didn't trust me yet because he didn't really know like what I could do. And then he was like, oh, okay, yeah, she's fine. Let's just move on. Like, that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do that. And then we started to play with it more. And it's like, oh, you can do it in the ring. Oh, you can do it when they're on their knees into like a face plant. Oh, okay, maybe we could do it now where like, you know, you do the run on Drew and then like he flips you over him and then he's like, you know, so there was like a bunch of things that they weren't expecting from me. So I think it was a nice, I don't know, feeling at first to prove them wrong, but then also I feel like that was a pattern, because even Vince didn't even know. Like,
he didn't know you could do a moonsault.
Well, no. And I was like, okay, I have to remind myself. They haven't seen me in that capacity yet. So yeah, that was a big part of it. It was just like, I remember people going, oh, I didn't know you can do that. Oh, I didn't even know. I thought you were just a promo. I'm like, yeah. Yeah.
From New York, I could do anything.
Yeah. You know, at that point, especially, I think that's also a thing. Is like, because of how small I am, they're just like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's different.
So did it almost feel like there was a weight being lifted off your shoulders that you could do these things and they had more belief in you?
Yes. Yeah. And I think too, like there was like a certain standard for them for like what they thought managers should be able to do or what they could do. But I just know that, you know, they just were pleasantly surprised every time, which is nice. It was a good feeling.
Were you still training during
yeah.
that? Mm-hmm. So you were still like wrestling in that time?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I was at the performance. Like, they even told me, like, oh, yeah, you don't have to. I'm like, nope, I'm going to be here. I want to be in Norman's class. I want to be in Robbie Brookside's class. Like, I want to make sure I still train and the thing is, like, I was training mostly with the guys. So it was like, I can get in there whenever I could, and that was it. But it was just like, I wanted to be there I didn't want to be different at all. I was like, I want to be here every single day, like, going to gym, going to, you know, training. I would stay after and, like, just train with Norman Smiley, like, all the time. So it was, yeah, it was just a thing where I was like, okay, in case they do give me this spot, which eventually they did with Candace, but I wanted to make sure that it was good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were there any moves that you were just so naturally good at that you knew you could do anytime? Like DDTs, moonsaults? Like, what were your favorite moves to perform at that time?
At that time, it was definitely like the Rana. They always call it like, you know, it was like the Lita spot, and then eventually they started calling it the Zelina spot, and I was just like,
that's cool.
That's cool.
That's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah. So it was mostly that, and then and it was just usually the Rana off the apron into, you know, some people would take it to the stairs, some to the barricade or wherever, but yeah, or even like the faceplant one, that was fun too. But I know that it's so weird to even say this out loud, but my husband now would take that move and he would like spike himself. And I didn't know, like the first time we did it, I didn't know that he did that. So I thought I messed up. And then I looked and I was like, oh, okay. And I kind of just ran out of the ring and I'm like, did that look weird? I didn't know what happened. And then we got to the back. They're like, oh my God, I think you hurt him. Like it was like he landed on his neck. And I'm like, I'm small. I don't think I did that. Like, have you seen him? I don't think I did that. But it's just because he was able to make it look insane. So
he's a tank.
Do you
guys ever train together?
All the time. Yeah, we have a ring in our house, so it's just like I know that sounds like so casual, like, oh. But yeah, we wanted to make sure that like, especially for this point in our career, we wanted to like have our school obviously, but be as sharp as we could because we were going to be living like 2 hours away from the performance center, so we couldn't go there all the time. So we we wanted to have like the ring and like our gym and stuff like that to like stay on point.
How often do you train now?
It depends. So if I'm home and I'm just doing TV and that's it, it'll probably be like 3 times a week. Yeah.
Do you need to give your body a rest?
Yeah. Especially after last night.
Yeah, last night was crazy.
Yeah, this morning I was like, okay, we're doing this. Like, okay, sure. But yeah, it's like kind of like you need to get the oil in your, the oil tank going so you can move around a little bit. But yeah.
Was last night your first hardcore match?
My first hardcore match ever. Just so funny to say. Because like I've been doing this since I was 17. I'm 34 now. But yeah. And whatever. But I've never did a hardcore match ever.
It just never happened.
Mm-mm. It just wasn't presented to me. Like, it just wasn't like, oh, this is what we're doing today until like this week. And I was like, oh, okay. Can I jump off the Tron? And they were just like, no, you can't. Like, we still need to like save some oohs and ahs for Money in the Bank tomorrow. So like, and you need to just live, So, and I'm like, eventually I'm going to do it. Like, eventually. Like, I was a huge Jeff Hardy mark when I was a kid. Like, ridiculous. So anything that he's done, I was just like, I want to do that at some point. Like, I don't care what it takes, what it looks like I want to do that. So I even asked, because like obviously Money in the Bank's tomorrow, so it was like they set up some of the ladders and I was like, can I use the ladders? Can I jump off the ladders? And they were like, no, because we need to like save some of it for tomorrow, like we can't just give everything away the day before, which makes sense. But I was also like, ooh, like it was like a playground for me yesterday. Like I was just like, what could I do? Ooh, like I was excited. So it was like, but everyone thinks I'm crazy. But I was just like, no. Like I want to make this really good and just see how we can make it different. And, because it's like, they called it what is it called? Bakersfield Brawl. So I was like, there's no specifics. So like, what could we really do here? So, but it was fun.
Were there any weapons that you really wanted to use, but you didn't?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was like, can we like put barbed wire on a chancla? And they're like, no. So they're like, no blood, no guts, just take it easy. So yeah, I didn't get to do that. But
how'd the fans react to it? You think they liked it?
Oh yeah. But that's the thing. The fans were great. Like I was very like pleasantly surprised because here's the thing. And like, I'm very in touch with how people are reaction wise. And Chelsea is obviously very loved. And I think because she's got a lot of time to show her character and people have fallen in love with the character and whatever. With me, it's like there'd be times where I would get a ton of promo time when I was a heel, but then as a babyface, I never get the mic. So people don't get to know much about me. They don't really get to see me as a babyface. That's why like, oh my gosh, she was so much better as a heel. And I'm like, it's because you don't hear me talk at all, But I feel like that is where my connection is with the fans. So it's interesting to see like sometimes, depending on where we are and whatever, she'll get cheered a little bit and I'll get booed a little bit. And it'll be just like mixed reactions, But last night it was like, we are here for Zelina. Like, we're doing this. So I was like, oh, shit, thanks, guys. Damn. So yeah, I loved Bakersfield. You guys were awesome. Like, loved it.
At this point in your career, can you process everything that's going on between the crowd, the match, the physicality?
No.
Does it all just like...
Yeah, and I think it's nice to lose yourself in that. Like, sometimes when I try to, because I'm a bit of a control freak, sometimes when I try to control everything, it's too much, and you don't really get to enjoy it. And you can tell, like, when you're in there and you're, like, thinking too much about, like, this has to happen exactly like this, it's not as fun. You don't have as much fun. Like, yesterday, I literally was just like, whatever happens, happens. Like, we're going to do what we're going to do, but hey, if things kind of take a left turn, yeah, I'm okay with it. So it was kind of just like comforting to feel like there wasn't a strict, this is how it has to go.
What's the highlight for you? Is it your music hitting? Is it hitting your finisher? Is it them saying your name?
Honestly, it's the fans. Like when you have them, there's like nothing like that feeling. It's like such an addicting feeling. Like when you have them for real, like you can hear them like get louder. That's when it's just like there was a moment yesterday where I was on, I was climbing Piper's back to do the code red off the top rope. And that's when I heard them starting to like slowly go, oh my God, I see what she's going to do. I see what she's going to do. Oh my God. Oh my God. And they started to get like louder and louder. And you can kind of see me start to look at them like, should I do this? Should I do it? All right, bet. And then we just went for it. But it was just like, you know, I could see when they start to really get into it. And that's when you're like, oh, nice. It's nice that you got them. So yeah, for me, it's definitely the fans for sure.
How do you feel about Julia?
I love her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't love her, but I do. I've watched her in Stardom, so like, and she didn't even know that I did, but like I've seen all the stuff with her and Kyrie. Like I've seen her prior, so I was excited when they were like, okay, we're gonna get to you guys eventually, and like whatever. So I was excited because for me, it's like I don't really get a chance to. Anytime I get to wrestle somebody that was in Stardom, like Io or Kyrie or her or Asuka, you know, even she obviously didn't do Stardom, but like getting to wrestle any of them is such a treat for me. I love wrestling them. So it's gonna be fun, and I think too, like it's gonna give the fans an opportunity to see me be more competitive than more character, if that makes sense.
The women's pay-per-view is coming up.
Yes.
Is there a dream match that you'd want to have with anyone on the roster, past or present,
Ooh.
that you'd want to wrestle?
I don't know. So that's such a hard question because I like wrestling different people for different things. Of course, I'd love to wrestle like Trish. You know, I love Trish. That's like my first gut instinct. But then at the same time, I would love to have another match with Asuka. Like something about her specifically, like there's just, whenever we get in the ring together, it just feels like butter. Like she is just so smooth with everything. And I feel like we can really build something. So I think any kind of match with Asuka would be super, super fun.
Is that just natural between the two of you?
So yeah, and there's actually like a few people like that. So I'd say like my favorite people to wrestle really is Rhea, because she's like, you know, she's my perfect opposite, you know, especially because like Backlash and everything, like we have this, she can literally like spin me around like a pinwheel, but like it's, you know, it's just like we have so much fun when we're in there together, and it's just like it's seamless. It feels like it's not work. It just happens. So definitely Rhea, Asuka, Piper too. I love wrestling Piper. It's, you know, it's a nice play off of the whole David versus Goliath thing, you know, and it's an easy story that everybody can digest and understand. I love wrestling Bianca and Io. So like that's like my five.
Can we go back to 2017?
Yes, what happened then? I'm like, yeah.
What year are we in now? You signed your first contract.
Yeah.
What did that feel like for you, that the pieces of the puzzle were starting to come together?
I didn't know what I was in for, to be honest. And I think I didn't want to put any like kind of, I didn't directly say, okay, now that this is signed, I'm going to go for being the champion. Like it was literally just like work to get in, work to stay in kind of thing. Because I always feel like this weird thing where it's like, it's just, nothing's ever promised. And I didn't know how long it was going to go for. I didn't know what was going to happen. But I was just so happy that it was like finally thing. I still have that contract and the second one. But it just, I wanted to make sure that I, again, just took that in. And I spent like a good amount of time with Dwayne trying to like make sure everything was like good. And I'm like, okay, is there anything I should do? Like contract wise, should I like ask for certain things? Should I like, you know, frame it? Like, what should I do with it? Like, I don't want to lose it or anything. And he was just like, definitely keep it in a safe place. He's like, you probably don't want to frame it and put it on the wall because that'd be weird because then people are going to read it. But like, you know, just like keep it for, you know, you always have your first contract. So he's like, definitely, like you've worked so long for that contract. Like you have to keep it in a good, safe place. So it's, I just remember being so happy about it and just excited to, like, it just felt like a finally, you know, like, I think I was 26 when I signed, and I had been wrestling since I was 17. So it was just like, finally this happened. It was like 8 years of getting constant no's from WWE, always being told like, oh, she's too small, or she's too like, her endurance isn't there, or she's too this or too, I wasn't enough at that point until I was. And that was like the best feeling in the world to finally. And it's like, you don't want to put that pressure on it, right? Like on yourself of like, oh, you're not good enough unless they say so. But it wasn't that for me. It was more like, this is the one thing that I've ever wanted. So it was nice to feel like I finally was on that journey, and I finally took that first step into doing it. And I was hungry as hell back then. So I still am, but just in a different way.
When you kept getting all those no's, how'd you improve yourself to make them say yes? I'm a very fiery person by nature. And I think like, especially the first one, I took very hard because I thought that's it. Like, the world's ending. I'm not going to be able to be ever. Like, it's just not going to happen. I don't know where I grew the balls to just call up Norman Smiley, because like they give you like a list of people's numbers when you're trying out, like if you get lost or if you need any kind of help, like, these are the people that you're going to be working with, like whatever. So I looked back at that sheet and I called Norman, and I was just crying, and I was like, Norman, like they said no, like I'm never going to be there now, like whatever. And we still talk about this to this day, where he was just like, it's okay. Like, it's not a no forever. Like, you just have to, work on yourself, like get, more experience in the ring, like travel, like try to go to Japan, try to go to Mexico, like try to, get better and then come back. He's like, however many chances that you have to come back, always say yes and always just come back, because it can change. He's like, we may not need what you're offering now, but we might need it in a year or whatever. So, and to me, I was like, okay. If that means it's not a no forever, then I'm going to keep working on it. And I did end up going to Japan eventually. And then I did go to, Mexico first and then Japan. So it was, and then I went to TNA. I signed to TNA after that. So it was definitely like, okay, I need to get better. But I also wasn't, there wasn't any like kind of layout. It's not like step 1, you do this. Step 2, you go here and do this. Like, you just kind of fend for yourself. And I was so not afraid of anything back then too. Like, I would used to take from my grandmother's house in Queens, I would take a bus into the city, and then I would take a train from there. And I would take a train into the city and then a bus from there to North Carolina just to go to train. Like the big blue bus?
Yeah, well, it was a different kind of bus, but let's just say it was a very cramped bus. Like, yeah, one of those. It was only like $9, so yeah, one of them buses. But yeah, that's how I would do it. And I would just go there and I would train. And I remember like back then I got to work with, I don't even know how this happened, but I was able to like maneuver my way into like training with Matt and Jeff, and like my friend Amber O'Neill back then, like she was able to help me a lot and like get me to do different shows. I got to wrestle Jazz very early on in my career, and getting to learn from those people as I went, I was like, okay, this feels like it's getting closer and closer, but it didn't come until 2017.
I think that stuff is so incredible, because people who only see you as the champion now, who might not be that into wrestling, don't realize the years and the time that it took for you to get here.
Again, going from taking the bus into the city, or taking the train into the city, and then taking a bus all the way to North Carolina, that's a 9-hour drive. So it's like, I did that almost every weekend. So as far as paying your dues go and not having money to do that, and then also flying yourself out to be a Rosebud every month, like it was a lot. So I wanted to make sure that they knew I was super serious about it, and I didn't want to have any reason. And that was my biggest thing too. Like, I didn't want to say, oh, I could have, or I should have, or I would have done this. And I just didn't want to have any regrets when it came to this. Like,
you were all in.
That's it. Yeah. I didn't want anything else ever since I was like 4. Like, this was like it. Yeah.
I mean, we're the same age. You grew up on the East Coast, same as me, but wrestling was just so special once you found it then.
Yeah. I'm lucky that I had it at that time. I do feel like that.
The entire time you just wanted to be a wrestler?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I thought that the way to do that, because I couldn't get into, especially in New York, you can't start training until you're 18, technically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, unless you fib. But I kind of fibbed a little bit. I was 17.
Were there training schools there?
In New York, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But
Anyone...
so I started with my cousin. He's Amazing Red. So like for him, it was like, we have to do this the legal way. So like 18, we can do this. But I started at in Long Island, actually, at a seminar, because they didn't know my age back then.
So I was able to kind of like, at 17, like sneak it. And I didn't tell Red White right away. So he was like, where you been? I'm like, just, around. And he's like, yeah, weird. Heard you were at a seminar. Unless you have like a stunt double or something. Like some kind of twin out there. And I'm like, no, like that's crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, okay, fine. We'll start. Like September should be okay. Like, you're only like 2 months off from being 18. Like, it's fine. So that's really how everything started. And it was just like, he knew that I was super serious. My family knew that I was super serious about it. My mom wasn't stoked on it. Like, she was not stoked on it until I got signed, of course. Then she was like, oh, okay. But yeah, it was a very interesting journey for sure.
What's something that a regular person might not realize about life of an indie wrestler?
That it's like, you don't make a whole lot of money. Like, you don't make a whole lot of money. You don't really, it's not like the glamorous life right away. Like, it's, I think there's a really big misconception about like, oh, it's either one or the other. It's either that they're doing, really dingy backyard, like, shows or whatever, or it's like the glitz and glamour. Like, there's nothing in between for most people. But there's like a nice middle ground where it's like you can have, shows that are really nice and whatever. Like, again, I loved doing Stardom. Like, that was super fun for me. It was my first time in Japan. So it's like, for me, people don't know unless you've been to these shows what it can kind of be, and they bring obviously like the bigger names in there who've either been in WWE or just been on TV at some point. So like I remember wrestling Jillian Hall back in the day. Wow, yeah, that was a while ago. I don't even know what year that was actually. I don't even know, but it was at an independent show. So some people think that it's just wrestlers that you have like locally, but they'll bring in obviously like talent who are on TV or not. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's like the misconception there, but or that it's all death matches. Some people think that that's really all it is, or exploitation, and like women are just not wearing anything. So yeah, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, so like what do you do then? And I'm like, no, it's actually wrestling. Like it's wrestling. It's not like nudity or whatever. It's not like in a jello pit or something. Like, it's not like that at all. So yeah, I think people just don't really have like a full like scope of what it actually is in the independent scene.
How do you reflect on your matches now? What do you try and get out of them?
That's tough because it depends on who I'm in there with. So I always want to try and, like, if I'm going to wrestle somebody, like, again, because for me, there's two different things. It's either like there's a very strong character that wrestles, or it's a very strong wrestler that is a character. So if I'm wrestling somebody like Rhea or Io or someone like that, I always feel like I have to match them competitively, like as much as I can, because there is a limit to what this small body will do, but it's trying to match them as much as possible and like continue to have people go, oh, like I didn't know she can do that, or I didn't know that she can. So I'm trying to like add new things as I go that people aren't exactly expecting or whatever. But then when I'm in the ring with like a character, to also show that you can still bring who Zelina is, but into the ring where maybe you don't hear her talking, but you can see by her mannerisms how she is as a character. So there's just, two different ways that I approach matches for sure.
When you punch somebody in the face.
Would I?
No, when you do.
Oh. Yeah.
Are you like, oh crap, like I'm going to get it back?
Yeah, but I think I don't mind it too much. It depends also on who it is. Like, I would never punch Bianca in the face because I think my body just knows I don't want that smoke at all. But I did punch Rhea in the face once. But I think that when Rhea, like when she's in wrestling mode, she's not like normal. She's very like beast mode. Like, it's just like you see it in her eyes, especially like it's scary sometimes. Like, she's just like you can see the smoke coming from her nose. Like, she's very like in it. But yeah, at Backlash, I punched her in the face, and I think I was just so emotional on like what was happening, and I wasn't expecting what happened with the fans and the gravity of the situation, that I forgot what I was doing, and I just punched her, and she just literally went. And I was like, oh no, like, oh no. So yeah, it was like, yeah, for sure. But I think we all kind of know it's like, it's not ballet, as they say, right? But it's also like, you're just, the adrenaline just kind of takes over, and we're all kind of okay with what happens out there.
You said recently you and Rhea are neighbors.
Yes.
Do you ever hang out with her?
Depends on what you mean by hang out. But like, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. But I also like, I like playing pranks on her. So yeah, it just, I find like little moments where I get to just mess with her, and I'll take every second of it.
Do you have any favorite group chats that you have with other wrestlers?
You're asking very different questions. You know how usually for these kind of things you kind of like prep yourself? I'm like, oh shit. Like, oh shit. Well, so recently we started a group chat for like the yacht that they were gonna go on. Dakota and I couldn't end up going, but like there was a yacht that they all went on for Natty's birthday. And that chat is very interesting because it's all of the girls. It's like everybody. And then I have one with Saraya and our friend Raquel. So there's that one. It's called The Weirdos. So there's that. I have one with Josiah and Dakota for like our podcast and stuff. So there's like different things. They're not too saucy, although they can get there sometimes. But yeah.
In the all girls one for the yacht, who's the jokester? Who's trying to send memes? Who's trying to send funny videos?
Bailey. Bailey for sure. Bailey and Liv. They're always kind of going back and forth in there. But yeah, for sure.
Where does winning the queen stack on your accomplishments?
Ooh.
The first ever.
That's the part. Like that's really the part that makes it hard, because there's never been anyone prior, and it's like, as far as like the history books go, I will always be the first one, and that's
you.
Insane to me. Like forever, because I didn't expect that. I really didn't. And like how it came about, I thought he was joking. Like Vince had walked by me at one point, and mind you, at that point, we don't really like talk that much. So he was like the first, and I didn't know what to say. So he walked by me, and he was just like, how do you think you look with a crown? And I was like, that was it. And I didn't know what he was talking about either. I was like, I think I'd look cool, right? Like I just looked at him like, right? And he was like, yeah, I think so. And he just like walked off, and I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Is he being serial right now? I don't know if he's being for real or not. Okay. All right. Is he talking about the Queen of the Ring thing? What is he talking about? Like, is he just like, I had no idea. And he was like the only person that could do that to you, where you're like questioning all of your life choices at that point. And you're like, what is he talking about? Wait, did you talk about the Queen of the Ring thing? Or like, is there something else? Is he just talking about like in general? Does he want my character to start wearing a crown? But I already wear crowns. So that's literally where my brain was like spiraling at that point. So, but yeah, that was the only conversation that we had about it. And then all of a sudden, like, next thing I know, I'm going to Saudi. And again, I don't believe it until like the bell is rung and I hear my name and they present it to me. Like that's the only time I'm like, okay, it's real. But it's like it happened. I heard the 1, 2, 3, and I was freaking out, but I was also trying to stay bad guy mindset. But then looking around and seeing all of the guys in the audience, especially in Saudi, like seeing them bowing to me was insane. And then I was like, oh, wow, pyro. I've never seen that for me before. That's crazy. So I got scared because I wasn't expecting it. So I was like, oh, shit. Like, wow, they actually have pyro for me? Like, that's wild. So I sat, but like I was taking my time with that, like sitting, because I knew, I was like, I don't know how long this is going to last. And they were like, come on. They were like, the camera guy was like, hurry up. And I was just like, nope. So like sat down, and I took a second. And then I sat down, and then everything happened. I was just like, whoa, this is insane. So I probably, because my top 3, honestly, is just like Backlash, this, and that. So that's probably the order for sure. It's, yeah.
Now the TNA is kind of part of the equation.
Yeah.
Have you fantasized about a world where you're the first woman to have a title from both entities?
I didn't think about that, honestly. I didn't think about that, but I think that'd be super dope for sure. Especially because I was one of the people that, again, people forget, but I started in TNA.
Would you ever want to get back involved in it?
I mean, I don't say no to anything, really. It's just, it's nice to know that there's opportunities to be, even for that to even be a possibility, I guess. You know, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, would you want to do this? And it's like, well, it was never an option. Same with this. It was never an option. So it was like, well, yeah, now like everything's like, yeah, let's do all of it. Like, give me all the titles. Like, let's do this. I'll take everything. Like, let's do this. But yeah, like I think it'd be nice to kind of get in there and work with people I didn't really get to work with, you know? So, I mean, who knows? But I think either way, TNA will always be like a part of my story, a part of what I do. Look at Rosita though, and I'm just like, who is that person? Because I don't know I feel like I don't know her. It's just like she's so far removed from like who I am now. I was like, she was a baby, like, you know, it's just weird. So, but it's crazy to look back and say like, yeah, I was tag champion there, tag champion here. So it's insane, like such a weird world.
Do you ever talk to Carmella anymore?
Not much. And it's not even because we choose not to or whatever. It's just like our lives are so crazy that usually the interactions that we have is like on Instagram. Like I'm always like, we'll like each other's stuff or comment or whatever, but we haven't really talked in a while, no.
Do you have any highlights or memories from your time with her?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like it was such a long time ago, it feels like, but at the same time, like that was a time where her and I just got to be silly and just say whatever we wanted because no one was taking what we said seriously anyway. Like I think one time I said to her too, I'm like, oh my God, your earlobes are so nice. Like you have like amazing earlobes. Like that's crazy. You know, just to try and like pop her just randomly, you know? So, but it was like from the accent to like what we were saying to each other to her wedding stuff and everything. It was just like, sometimes we were just walking like, what are we doing? Like, what are we saying? Like, what is happening right now? But yeah, it was definitely fun. And I think like walking into WrestleMania as tag champion and as queen, like first ever, like that was definitely a highlight. And her and I do remember like once everything was said and done, after that match was done, she hugged me the whole time, like walking back up to Gorilla. So that was a nice, like, closing to our chapter together.
Do you have any favorite moments from being part of a faction? Because you really dabbled in everything, which is so cool.
Yeah. There's so many, honestly. Like I loved, it's one thing to say like, wow, like COVID sucked, of course. But like that was also a time where Vince just let me do whatever I wanted. He was like, we're going to have you in most of the show. You're local. So like, and you can handle it. So we're just going to let you do whatever, like out of the, 16 segments or whatever, we're going to have you a part of like 12. So you good with that? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. Whatever. Like I'm cool with it. So it was like starting out the show with Drew, and then going to have a match with Bianca later. Like it was insane. But yeah, as far as like the faction stuff, I remember slapping the hell out of Austin Theory, which anytime they tell me like that kind of a challenge, like, oh yeah, you're going to have to slap him because we don't want to do it a second time. Like you have to really slap him hard. I'm like, okay, cool.
One take wonder.
Yeah, that was it. So it was like that kind of stuff, or just feeling like I was a woman in charge of like something like that. It just felt really special, and people didn't question it. They just were like, oh yeah, of course Zelina's doing that. So I felt like that was like a nice feeling that people trusted me, but also just expected that from my character because they knew how powerful she thought she was. So yeah.
Did you watch Total Divas?
A little bit. I think back then I was just so... There's also a line of where you'd be getting told no all the time, but still trying to stay involved in the product where it doesn't hurt your heart that you're not a part of it. So I think that's really where like I would dabble, but like try to protect my heart at the same time. Because like you'd be told like, no, you're not good enough to be here yet, like whatever. And then trying to watch because I was friends with Paige back then, and like I knew Natty, so it was just like I want to be a part of it so bad, but I couldn't. So it's just stuff like that where you just have to protect your heart a little bit.
How do you like Paige as a wrestler?
Oh, I've always loved her. I've always wanted to wrestle her too, but just it never worked out, So it's definitely something that I would still love to do. But I loved her. Like she was just such a force, like such a, like I said, that raven haired, like, whatever, but she was like just like a entity. Like she just felt like such a force. So I like from the scream to everything, like she was just amazing. And same with AJ. Like funny thing about AJ is like her and I trained together in New Jersey prior to her being with WWE. So it was like I knew her and I related to her so much that it was very easy to slip into her for the movie. So it was like
again, seeing someone like her being involved in WWE, doing everything that she was doing, I was like, oh, I just want to be a part of it so bad. And then I'd come in as an extra, but she was so nice to me all the time. Like, you know, especially as an extra, you go and you sit in the corner and you kind of just try to say to yourself or whatever. And she was always like, no, come sit with me. Like, let's do this. And she would show me her wedding pictures with her and Punk, and just like, she was great. So,
did you ever wrestle a Game Changer in New Jersey?
I don't think so. If I did, I certainly don't remember, because I don't know. You asked me what I did like 2 weeks ago. I don't remember. So I'm like, I don't know. I think names is really difficult for me, but I do know that like we were in like that Ace building in New Jersey a lot. So
can we do some rapid fire questions?
Yes. I'm nervous as to what I'm going to say. I need to like tone back my mouth.
Gotta be quick. Tougher opponent, Asuka or Rhea Ripley?
Rhea.
Your go-to cheat meal after a big match?
If I'm in LA, it's definitely Veggie Grill.
Oh, really?
Yes, I love Veggie Grill.
Okay. If you could steal one superstar's entrance theme for a night, who would it be?
Aleister Black.
Dream cosplay you haven't done yet, but you want to?
Oh, that's difficult.
That's the toughest one.
That one, I want to do a Todoroki one, because I do the split hair anyway, and I got that from him, so I want to do Todoroki, but like in full force.
Do you watch Hunter x Hunter?
No, I tried it, but it just didn't do anything for me. And maybe it was just because I was watching My Hero at the same time, and I was so engaged in that. So maybe that's why.
Favorite video game character of all time? Out of all the video games. Every world.
I want to say it's Vega from Street Fighter, because that's where I got my name from. But I really thought that Kazuya Mishima was hot. So, like, I don't know. That sounds horrible. But, like, yeah. Or Scorpion. So
from Mortal Kombat?
Yeah. So, like, any of them, really.
Did you see the new movie?
The new one? Like, the second one? I don't think it's out yet.
No, the HBO one that came out, like, 4 years ago?
I think, if I'm thinking, with Cole? Like, as a main character? He was, like, a descendant from Hanzo Hasashi? Yes.
I forget, like,
if it's
the
that
premise.
One, then yeah.
But they announced that they were doing, like, a trilogy, and this was the first one, like, 3 years ago.
I think so. I think if that's the one you're referring to, then yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah, I did too. Like, a lot of, like, I love, like, the actual, like, story of Mortal Kombat. Like, if you go back to, like, I think Mortal Kombat 9, and they kind of go into every character, like, Noob Saibot, and Sindel is, like, my girl. I love Sindel. So yeah, there's that.
I was ranked number 3 in the world on Puzzle Combat in Mortal Kombat.
Really?
And then my PS2 broke, and I had to send it in. And then by the time I got it back, I was like 15, and there was no way I can get back to the top.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Oh my god, don't you hate when that happens? But
Favorite Pokemon of all time?
Lugia.
Who's that?
Lugia.
The dragon?
It's the one that was in is it Pokemon 2000, where it was like the bird like disturbed not the harmony of fire, ice, and lightning. And it was like Moltres, Articuno, Zapdos, and they were fighting Lugia, the one who came out the water. No.
Did you get Pokemon Red or Blue?
Red.
So did I.
Yeah, but like Lugia was if you see Pokemon Silver, it's that one.
Got it.
Because I wasn't a Ho-Oh person. I'm not a golden turkey like kind of person. But either Lugia or Espeon.
One move you wish you can borrow from another superstar's arsenal.
A move?
Yeah.
Probably. I don't know. Stone Cold Stunner, probably. Yeah, I don't know why that one just seems so fun. Like I even see Kevin Owens doing it. I'm just like, it looks fun. So, and I think I can actually physically do it. So, there's that.
First person you text after a big career win.
If it's not my husband, like, are we excluding like family and stuff?
You already talked to him. Like, is there anyone else you're texting?
Dwayne. Yeah, I feel like I owe him a fucking lot. Like, as far as my career goes, like, I owe him so much. So probably him, yeah.
If Netflix were to do like a reality show or anything now, because it is possible, would you want to be part of it?
Yes, I actually want to do one with my husband, because I feel like there's so much that people don't expect when it comes to him and I, like us having 10 cats, for instance. But like, there's so much that people
10
like.
Cats.
Yeah.
I just want that 10. And like, not little ones, Bengal cats.
Bengal cats, Persians, exotic short hairs, yeah. Yeah, but there's just certain things that people wouldn't expect. Like, my husband and I, we get tattooed when we're on the road. Like, there's just certain things that I feel like people would just like to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit.
I want to send you my tattoo guy. He's incredible.
Oh,
Justin Tattoos. Do you know him? Justin Villalobos?
I feel like I do.
He's really good. He loves anime.
What's his
Justin V.
I feel like I might. Plus, I just got like a huge Gyarados on my leg.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, like, well, see, I like Gyarados' story, right? So I was a Magikarp for so long, and then you eventually kind of evolve into Gyarados, and it's like you can evolve out of anger, like Magikarp did, or it's like the actual tale is like they had to swim upstream and like
go over all these obstacles to actually like the koi fish swimming upstream to become the dragon. So
What was your favorite Pokemon video game?
Silver, for sure. Yeah. Silver was like my thing. I was on there all the time.
Did you play Pokemon Snap?
No. It was,
Oh.
I did, but I didn't like it because it was just like, I needed action. I needed
pictures.
things to happen. I was very like ADD. I'm like, like I need to fight someone. Like, you know, especially because my brother and I were so fucking competitive together. We still are. Like, he's the one person that I can't beat for some reason unless it's in Tekken. But yeah, and he always knew. He was like, well, and when you're little, you think you're cool because you remember watching Pokemon. They're like, well, water conducts electricity. So I know that my Pikachu is going to beat your Squirtle. Like, you know what I mean? You're like so stupid about it. You're like, yeah, I know that word conducts. So yeah, I know what I'm talking about. So, and my brother always knew. He's like, well, technically, if it's like a leaf Pokemon and then you go into this, like he always knew all the combos and shit. And I was like, I hate you. Like I was like, but it's not like the show because a freaking Haunter is not going to be a Kadabra and it's not going to be a thing, okay? Because they say it in the show, but it's actually not real. So yeah, it's a whole thing.
Did you collect the cards too?
Yeah.
Did you ever pull anything crazy?
Bro, I'm going to say something that people are going to hate me for, but I hate myself for it already, so don't fucking come for me, bro.
Oh, you probably threw it away or something?
My mom, like, I had like a whole tin of it, and I had a holographic Charizard. I know. I had one, yeah. And I was like, it's gone. It is gone. So, yeah.
My little cousin spilled water all over my binder, and I cried so hard. But we went to the store. I got like 10 packs. My aunt felt so bad, and I pulled a Charizard.
That's good. Okay.
So, like, ruined my collection, but I got a Charizard.
That's true. I mean, I'd probably do some trades in for that, too.
Yeah, I probably would have traded it for anyway, but...
Yeah, I remember I poured like orange soda on somebody because they tried to steal my Pokemon cards. And yeah, I was a very like angry little kid. Like I was very serious about wrestling and Pokemon. Like things, it was like so serious when it came to that. Or video games. Like my mom played video games. I remember like even when I was a kid, she put us to sleep. She'd be playing Mortal Kombat. And I'm just like, why are you allowed to stay up then? Like I'd be peeking out like, what are you doing? Like, you know, but yeah, it's just for sure. One of those things where you're just like, damn.
Yeah. This has been so cool. I know you have to head out. So thank you so much for making the time. Yeah. Congrats on the championship.
Thank you.
And
My
I'm so
baby.
excited to see what you do next.
Thank you. His name is Steven.
Is it?
Yes, I named him Steven because you've seen the video where they're just like the lady, she's like, Steven. She's yelling at the horse and she's like, I thought you were dead. Fucking hell. That one. That's why I named him Steven.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Where can everyone find you?
At Zelina Vega WWE across the board. Yeah, unless I'm on Twitch, which I'm starting to go back on Twitch. My friend Ellum is like yelling at me. He's like, you need to get back on Twitch. But it's my @ on Twitch is twitch.tv/Thea Trinidad.
Are you going to do certain days or times or just whenever?
I am going to try to do that. Yes, I'm making an effort to do it this Tuesday, so I'm trying. We're trying to make Tuesdays a thing. So
Tuesdays.
Yeah, because him and Saikuno play Mario Party, so I'm just like, let's go. Because I have a very strong, me and my freaking streamer friends were like here. So actually, my friend Ellen was at the show yesterday. I had him come to the show. Funny enough, every time I go bring him to a show, it's always like the most insane things. It was Money in the Bank where I did the code right off the ladder, and then it was this one where I put Piper through a table. No big deal.
Sick moment. Really sick moment.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much
Yeah,
for
thank
having
you.
me.
Thank you.
Cool. That was great.